What's up, Slap fans? Have no fear before you start freaking out. I am not alone this week. Corey will be joining me in just a second. He's doing some stuff as usual, going across the world, in different parts of the world because Corey's the man. But he'll be here in a second. But without Corey, that doesn't mean that I'm completely solo. I do have a couple friends that are willing to help me out. And the first one, you guys actually might know. You might have seen him recently. Joshua Boisvert, the man. We just saw your road to the title, man. You get an incredible victory in round number 2 of the lightweight tournament and of the show. What are your thoughts after seeing your own performance up there and seeing yourself on the show?
What's going on, brother? Yeah, honestly, I knew that I can't, that shit happened so fast. But I do remember that one was a banger. I knew it went 3 rounds, and I was so excited to play it back for sure. I'm pretty excited with my performance. Dana had some good words to say at the end there, so yeah, I'm pretty pumped right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we were kind of watching a little bit beforehand. You were obviously they show a little cameo of you talking, him talking, and one of the things you said was that you didn't think Anthony DeFrank deserved to be up there with you. What was it about him that kind of gave you that conclusion?
Yeah, all respect to Johnny Warta. He's a dog for sure. But when I saw that matchup, that matchup didn't make sense to me. I was 95% sure that DeFrank was going to take care of Gianni. So he did display a knockout first round. So that definitely has people's opinions on him. But yeah, I just didn't think that he had what it took to be up there with somebody to his stature. He's a 6'1" guy. Johnny was probably 5'6", so it just wasn't a fair fight.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, his comments beforehand were that it was going to be a cakewalk. He was going to walk through you. I'm not exactly sure, kind of where that confidence came from, but definitely not something that's typical with guys that don't have a particular problem, if you will. So I was just curious if there was anything that happened behind the scenes. Maybe you guys had a little distaste for one another. But obviously, extremely dominant performance. You stand there, really don't move from any of the strikes. He has a few different reactions, right? He gets dropped on the first one. The second one, he actually does not go down, which is one of those things that you see. I think you're seeing it more now. What were you thinking as it almost felt like he took your second strike a little bit better than he did your first strike?
Yeah, for sure. I do believe he took a knee on the second strike. He didn't initially drop, but he took a knee after the he took a couple seconds and he realized that was too much for him to recover standing up. But yeah, I think that he just he didn't know what he was getting himself into, and his first match his head was just waiting to get hit. So I think that he had that, like he said, he had that confidence. So he probably thought, that guy didn't have that power, and he had to adjust himself for his second hit. But it was still too much for him to recover on his feet.
Now he's one of those guys that has a very, I'll say, special, unique windup where he comes in really quickly. I don't know if that's really, I don't know if that's like a part of his strategy on a way to rattle you or what. But did that at all shake you up, or did it kind of confuse you, or did it concern you at all that he was winding up so quickly?
Yeah, so we actually did get to watch film after our first fight. So we got to watch film of ourselves, what we did, and then films of our future opponent, so Anthony DeFrank. So I got to watch his fight close up, and I realized that he has more of an Alan Klingbeil windup. It's very fast. He's coming right to your face real quick. And to be honest, it's kind of reckless in my opinion, especially because his arm's not very controlled. So, he could have hit me anywhere. The hardest part about that, his windup, was just getting my breathing in cadence with it, because I like to be in cadence, breathing in when they're winding up and then, breathing out when I'm getting struck. So I think that was probably the hardest part, is just, taking quicker breaths. But other than that, everybody's going to have a different windup, and you just got to adjust on the fly, right?
Yeah, and then what did you think about of the stoppage? Did you think it was a little early? Were you surprised that he kind of got called out? I think the referee got to maybe number 4 before he called it off.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's hard to tell because like I don't see what he sees, but like when I was watching the fight, looking into his eyes, like he was definitely not there. Like it was to me it was kind of scary to be honest with you because he was standing up, but he was not there. So I wouldn't say it's an early stoppage. Like they have to do their job. It's kind of a gray area because it's the third round. So to me, like I was a little confused because regardless if he recovered, like there's nothing to recover to. There's no another hit. But either way, like I think it was a good call.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, we don't really see standing TKOs so often. And when I say standing TKO is a tough one when it comes to slap, obviously because a lot of the time guys will get waved off. They are standing, when they get up, and if the referee deems that they don't look good to continue, then they'll wave it off. So technically they're standing. But what I mean by standing TKO is he never went down in that round.
Yeah.
And the referee saw something he didn't like and said, we're done. And I'm assuming it's something in the eyes. That kind of dazed look where you're kind of looking through people, not focusing on anything. And, these referees see a lot of that stuff. So I'm not exactly surprised. I'm going to turn it over to Corey. Obviously, I don't know if you can see those comments, but, Raiden shouting you out, man, saying, let's go, Canada, and whatever the rest, I don't know, CACA.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Awesome.
Love you, Raiden,
Congratulations, Josh.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Sorry, I missed the first part of it. Flew out a little bit late in traffic. Had to get through security at the airport, but now I'm here, man. Talk to me about that matchup. Impressive. The first strike. Did you think he was getting up?
Honestly, I didn't think he was gonna get up. To be honest with you, but he proved me wrong. DeFrank's a dog for sure. I'll give it to him. I didn't think it was gonna go 3 rounds. I predicted a second round TKO. They asked us for predictions before the fight. That was my prediction. But yeah, no, he showed up and he showed out for sure.
Awesome, man. I mean, he was seen, I think, as definitely one of the favorites. He had an impressive round 1 victory as well as yourself. Being there at the weigh-ins, what kind of vibe did you get off him? Because he seems to be much more of an outgoing, cocky, confident person. Did you feel that from him?
Oh yeah, like DeFrank. That's what DeFrank emulates all the time. Like we lived in the house together a week before that fight. We didn't have any beef, like we just told each other we're gonna put on a show. None of the lightweights had beef, honestly. Like we were the boring class of the season for sure. But we got beef with other people. But like he did a good job for sure, But like that's who DeFrank is. Like DeFrank emulates that cockiness, and up until now, like he could back it up, but he walked into the wrong one.
Sitting there now, obviously you're moving through the 2 rounds. Your coach, who you had on the show, Robert Trujillo, is that where your sights are set next?
100%, honestly. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I'd like to go through the lightweights a little more, like to prove myself. I think it'd be a little early to give me a title shot after two wins. I understand that the class is building, and that's kind of how the previous seasons have worked. You'd win your season and then you would go on and fight for a belt. I don't think that would prove that I'm a champion. So I definitely want to get my hands on some other lightweights right now for sure before I go against Trujillo. Trujillo's a dog. He's a beast. I have a lot of respect for him. And I'm honored to share the stage with him one day. And I know that day will come. But as of right now, yeah, I definitely want to get my hands on some more lightweights.
Awesome, man. What's your day-to-day look like right now? What are you doing to get better every day for the next opportunity?
For sure, yeah. So right now, like I told you at the last interview, I was just trying to get my weight up. So I'm sitting around 170 right now. So yeah, I'm just grinding. Like I work the 12-hour shifts. I'll go to the gym after work. I'll go to the gym before work. It all depends because I do nights and days. But yeah, I'm just taking my health seriously, watching what I eat, taking my vitamins, making sure that my brain's good, and I'm ready for the next one, 100%.
Awesome, man. Congratulations. Look forward to seeing what's next for you.
I appreciate you guys.
A couple quick ones, Josh, before we let you go.
Yeah.
You're wearing a crown.
Yeah.
What's that about? Talk to me about what's the motivation behind that.
Yeah, so Anthony DeFrank, he was the king, and he got decrowned, and I think that the second round really emulates that when he got on his knee and bowed to me at the podium. I mean, he wasn't bowing to me, obviously, like he was taking a knee, but I fuck with that. I fuck with that image hard, and you'll definitely be seeing that on Instagram.
No, I love the energy, man. Honestly, it brings this excitement. Nate Bernard just came in here, commented on it right away. He noticed it. I actually didn't notice it right away, if I'm being honest. But kudos to you, man. It's very creative. One final one for you. Obviously, there's two other lightweights that we saw get the win. William Shockey gets it in a very unusual way. Doesn't get to strike at all in this match. Gets rendered unable to continue, so he gets the disqualification win due to stepping from Isaac Guenther. But there's another guy who's your fellow Canadian in Dakota Mcgregor, and he had a win also on round 2 of the show. Is that a person that you could see up there next, potentially across from you at the podium?
Yeah, like I was just saying, like there's I wouldn't feel comfortable going for the belt right now, and I don't see, obviously, after 10 lightweights coming out of season 3, the only 2 being victorious, other than obviously not getting knocked out, is me and Dakota. So it would only make sense if me and Dakota went at it next. And I think that would be the ultimate test for sure. Dakota's proven he has a chin, he has power, he's also Canadian, and there can only be one. So that would be one great bout for sure.
Is there anything you want to say to Dakota, who's now joined us?
Absolutely. Congratulations on your big win, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'd like to see you. It's been a long time.
It's been a minute.
But yeah, regardless of what happens next, I feel like it's gonna be me and you. We're the ones that proved ourselves out of the lightweight tournament. Like I just said, you're a dog. You got a chin. You got a strike on you. And like I said, there can only be one Canadian. So
Yeah, I
think that
agree.
we have to put that to the test, brother.
I like it.
I am severely outnumbered in Canadians right
Oh,
Yeah.
Josh, congratulations, brother. Thank you so much for joining us, man. And we cannot wait to see what comes from you next, my brother.
Appreciate you guys. Take
Cheers,
care, everyone.
brother. Dakota.
Oh yeah.
Great performance in round 2, man. Another oh god. He said I don't know if it's yesterday or what, but he's like, I gotta get a flag for every time the Canadians win. You guys are everywhere. Congratulations, man. Listen, I'm happy for my fellow continent men ish. Whatever we want to call it. I'm happy for you guys. Congratulations, of course. And your performance is incredible, right? We see Reiley in round 1. He's this durable guy. Takes a shot from Isaac, who now knocks William Shockey out. And granted, Shockey didn't get hit in the first round, so we didn't really know per se. This was kind of that test, but Reiley takes the shots from Isaac. But now we know Isaac has knockout power. Of course, there's a foul in there, so there's an asterisk. But you go out there and you get Reiley out of there around number 2. I mean, what were your initial thoughts when you're watching that go down?
Well, I was just excited to rewatch it. I've known for a little while now, but it's just surreal to rewatch it and to hear like Dana White say that was one of the craziest knockouts he's seen in Power Slap. So it's an amazing feeling, honestly.
Yeah, so is that the first time you heard his comments? You didn't hear that live in real time?
Yeah, no, I didn't hear it live in real time. Like, I silenced the room. It was dead quiet in there.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed on you, especially when you had that knockout shot, you did not move your feet practically at all. I mean, it wasn't even a minor heel lift. Why? I mean, you're so new to this. What about your training, your preparation allowed you to be kind of so good? Not only did you hit the button, right, no foul, but you also, barely moved your feet and generated obviously quite a bit of power.
I shout out the Crazy Hawaiian because as an alternate, he like kind of coached us. He didn't want to see any heel lift, no stepping, no pivoting. Like they introduced a new rule, I guess to say, but he was like, nah, F that shit. Like, I don't want to see any of it. And if anything, it helped me. I just kept my feet planted and threw all my power as precise as I could.
Yeah, what was it like fighting back to back like that? I mean, you're fighting twice in 2 weeks, absorbing strikes in both fights. What was that like for you?
Pretty crazy because you only have 7 day turnaround, and like if you see my first fight, I got dropped pretty hard, so I had 7 days to recover. I mean, not too many people fight 7 days back to back like that, but I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, I mean, who would you say hits harder?
Probably Ivan, just because he hit me on the button. Actually, hard to say. They didn't show it, but Reiley had my nose bleeding like crazy. Like it was bad.
A couple more for me, and I'll turn it over to Corey. Is it difficult? You talked about it on the show, and I think most people have sort of a soft spot for Reiley. I mean, how could you not? Was it difficult to do something like that and put all your power and energy into hurting a guy who you're kind of fond of?
Well, after you get hit, the feelings kind of go away. Just for a minute or two, I guess we'll say. But when I knocked him out and he didn't get up nearly as fast as Ivan did, like he was out for, I'm going to say 3 minutes at least, maybe 5. And I got concerned. Like I knelt down, said a prayer. They didn't show that either. But and what's crazy too is like the night before our fight, we were in the house reading his Bible together. So like, I don't know. I just really connected with that guy, and I felt bad, like potentially really hurting him because like you've seen his face leading into the fight too, but he was
Yeah, he had a nice shiner. And the last one from me. You have this visible kind of, I'll call it a shake, but I'm not saying that you're shake, but you're just kind of jittering when you're up there getting ready to absorb a strike. Is that the nerves? Do you think that's kind of what we can expect in the future? Just kind of that I guess unsettling feeling where you don't really know what's going to happen, or is that part of your technique, or do you think it was just the sort of inexperience?
I think the anxiety takes over a little bit because I'm not scared to get hit by any means, or I wouldn't be here, right? But I didn't think I was jittery at all, but yeah, it just comes out, I guess.
Awesome, man. Corey?
Yeah, Dakota, congratulations, my man, representing Canada proud on the international stage once again. You actually said something really interesting in your post-fight interview. You said that it must have been a great knockout. Did you not remember the knockout itself?
No, I definitely did. Like I seen him fall and stuff like that, but just I like the way the room went silent. No one really said anything at the time. I didn't really know how to take it, and then afterwards, I had production coming up to me and telling me, that was a good knockout, like this, that, and the other thing. I just at the time I wasn't really sure how to take it, I guess we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, you had a little bit of extra context to it. That Reiley was down for 3 to 5 minutes. That strike was very much one that was closer to the front of the jaw and not the back. And there's been a lot of debate and talk, and we've had it on this show and as well as Smack Talk about where the button actually is. And, obviously how clean that strike was. And literally, I mean, your arm almost went all the way through him without slowing down, even after the point of contact. Talk to me about that strike specifically and the placement of it and why you think it's so effective.
I just think I throw power different than a lot of these other people. Like I've been told I hit like a middleweight, I guess we'll say. So if I can catch the tip of your chin, I'm coming right through and taking it with me, I guess we'll say. I just feel right there is the perfect spot for my hand to land to get that knockout shot. It's worked so far.
Yeah. I mean, for your opponent, Reiley, what do you think is next for him? Do you think he still has a spot in the sport?
Definitely. Yeah, he's going to go far. A lot of people love him. He's got a lot of eyes on him outside of the sport already. I would like to see him fight William, maybe. Yeah, probably William. That'd be a good one.
Gotcha. Before you came on, we talked to obviously, Josh and him saying that he's not ready for, a match against Robert Trujillo, and he called, I don't know, in a way he called you out or said he'd like to have a match with you. Do you feel the same? Would you like to fight Josh next, or do you think you're ready for Robert Trujillo?
I would like to fight Josh, and as long as it's kind of a quick turnaround, I don't want to sit and wait a year or whatever. I'd like to get at it and get at that belt as quick as possible. But yes, I couldn't agree with getting a little bit more experience.
Awesome. Appreciate it, my man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, congratulations. Always great to hear from you. Unfortunately, I have to admit, Canada's showing up on this one.
Yeah.
Much love, brother. Appreciate you joining us, man. And we will talk to you soon. Cannot wait to see what's next for you, brother.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers, bro. All right, keep on moving, man. We got one more, bro. What's up? Where you been, dude? What are you doing? Fucking styling and profiling. What's going on here? People are saying you're in the airport at the CEO's office, chilling, and like they're letting you do this interview from there. What's going on?
Yeah, man. Sorry, dude. It was late. Look, a little bit of traffic coming here to the airport, flying out to Saskatoon. Going to go see my buddy Brock Lesnar. Going to hang out with him this weekend. Got a bodybuilding show going on. And, can't miss the final slap. What an episode it was. Did you talk at all about the extracurricular activities that took place in the house?
Not yet. We'll get to that at the very end of the show when we have OG joining us. But for now, let's talk to the third lightweight winner, Mr. William Shockey. Shockey, what's up, my brother?
Hey, brother. Can you hear me good?
We can.
All right, perfect.
The man with the beautiful mic. Corey, why don't you kick this one off for us?
Yeah, William Shockey, my man. I got to apologize. Yesterday, I thought you were Canadian, but I know I got swiftly corrected. West Coast, you're not too far. You can probably throw a baseball to Canada from where you're from, so I wasn't that far off. But congratulations, my man. How are you feeling right now about watching the show back?
It felt really good. I mean, see my flag's falling in the background there. See my power slap flag. Yeah. So it felt good. I mean, overall, like a win's a win. It's never the way you want to win, but seeing myself get up, I felt like I was good to at least throw another slap. I was probably really out of it to where I wouldn't have been able to take another one. I don't think, you know what I mean? But I feel like a good redemption rule would be good on that. If it's like, hey, if the guy's still good, let him get up and at least throw another slap, and if it's over, it's over,
I hear you. The first match that you had, you took care of it in one strike. Was there any stress or animosity sitting there for 7 days? Were any of the guys in the house giving it to you, whether you have a chin or not? Talk to me about that lead up and, did it get in your mind psychologically at all?
No, not at all. So really the whole lead up to me, I didn't have any issues with anybody in the house. So I had probably one of the chillest times there, to be honest with you. It was kind of just relaxed, and we were kind of separated to a point to where it's like I didn't really see Isaac a whole lot. So it was kind of odd. We didn't really see each other until really going up into our last day into going into the match. So there wasn't really a whole lot of room for us to be, kind of at each other's throats even at all.
Gotcha. Talk to me about Isaac. I mean, he's not the most, over-imposing guy in person. Talk to me about him and, what it was like facing off against him.
Isaac's a great guy. I to be honest with you, he was one of my favorite lightweights as well. All of my lightweights, I got love for all my lightweights there on the show. Got really close with all those guys, but he was a great opponent, and he's going to be going far in the sport because he's young. He's got all the time to work on his technique. I really think that he's going to be around for a good while. I couldn't ask for a better opponent going into my second match. I'd really like to run it back with him just because of how it ended. It'd be really nice to just go ahead and, just run it straight back because he was, now he's 1-1. I'm 2-0. It would kind of make sense that, or, I know Mcgregor was saying maybe me and Reiley, really all the matchups just because there's so few of us make sense. But I really like Isaac a lot.
Awesome, man. So that's who you want next, potentially running back then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like that just makes the most sense. Of course, we won't really have an idea, until the tournament fills out with, rankings and everything. But obviously fights, with, when there's that few people, numbers in the rankings don't really matter so much. You can get guys that's, number 2 go against number 4 or 5, and it still makes sense. So I'm here for whoever, if they give me the call for, either the rematch or with Reiley. I love all those guys. I'd be down for it.
Yeah. One last one from me. You know, are you fully recovered now? Did you get medically suspended after that or anything?
No, to be honest with you, like whenever I went to the back, the doctor checked me and he was just like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "You're all good." He didn't even say that I was on any type of suspension. Probably just like maybe around like the shortest time that I'm sure that you could get. But I felt great even after taking the first shot. Like right after we got backstage and everything, I was just like, "Man, I feel like I could still go." But um, it was definitely a hard shot, but I recovered just fine from it. I think that maybe like the next day I had a little bit of swelling, maybe just a little bit of, a red mark going on, but I didn't really wear a whole lot of damage. So I got lucky. It didn't really, affect me too much.
Yeah, so obviously, you saw the other guys on here, Josh and Dakota, saying that they feel like they need another one before they go up against Trujillo. And I think, to be honest with you, the way the tournament style, there needs to be a third round between you at the moment. Not necessarily for lack of talent, but also just his dominance in the way that he's won these fights. For you, if let's just say for whatever reason you can't run it back with Isaac, what are your thoughts on Dakota? I mean, Dakota and Josh seem to kind of be okay fighting one another, but that puts you in a spot where you're kind of the odd man out. What would you say to somebody who has that question for you? If you and Isaac doesn't make sense next, for whatever reason, if Isaac doesn't want to do it or whatever, what would you say is kind of the next step?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because going into that semifinal round, it was kind of like one of those things where, you're good. I knew right away there's going to be an odd man out because there was 3 matches left. So it's like I knew I had to at least perform to try to get the knockout. And since that didn't happen, like you said, it kind of left you in an awkward situation where it's like, I'm 2-0, but like you said too, it kind of, Trujillo is so dominant. I feel like, a little bit more experience, maybe another couple of matches before going against him, that's not a bad idea for sure. But if somebody would ask me, like, as far as like where to go next, um, I would say, definitely try to run that back. But if not that, it definitely is something like maybe go against who loses against Josh and McGregor. I feel like maybe that would make sense too, because they'll be going into the final round, and whoever loses against them, maybe it makes sense for me to go against them for the next match. So um, it's up in the air really, but I'm down for it. Whoever they give me the call, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, I mean, you're a class act as always. Raiden's in the chat talking about you being sick in some way, and him thinking maybe you were going to fall out. If you feel comfortable, I don't know what that's about, but, do you want to elaborate on kind of what he's talking about?
Oh yeah, so definitely for sure. I was very sick. I know there's been a few people that commented before in a few episodes that there was like a sickness that went around the house, and we definitely were down and out. Not sure what it was, some type of virus for sure. But I'm the type of person. It's like I'll never make an excuse for myself. It's like if I can't beat somebody on my worst day, then that's on me, because it's like I should be able to beat them on their best on my worst day. And if I can't do that, then that's just on me. But at the same time, I do think that was something that went through the house and really took a toll on quite a few guys. It's something that I maybe a day, like a whole day I had a fever before maybe like a day, 2 days before the match, but hydrated. I felt great. Weigh-in day, I felt absolutely amazing.
And there's a few people who got sick. Luke Simons is saying he didn't get sick. I'm assuming it's the raw eggs that probably keep him away from that sickness. But again, not the way you want to win, but it's a win nonetheless. Congratulations. Really excited to see what comes from you next. And you always have a home here at Slap News, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Can't wait to come back. I'll be back for sure. You know me. I'm a dog. I'll be back.
Yeah. Awesome. One quick question. Can you shine any light of why round 3 only had 3 matches and not an even number like 2 or 4? Do you have any background there?
Yeah, I mean, I think just because of how the first round when we went in, I think that because there were so many knockouts too, I don't think they had enough guys to really fill it out completely. Um, when you had like Reiley who came back, but he didn't get knocked completely out. You know what I mean? You could have brought somebody back that didn't get completely knocked out, but you had Jay and Gianni both got knocked out, so it was kind of tough to fill it out. I think that was kind of the issue there, is that there were so many knockouts. That I think that might have been a possibility that they may have tried to have. They were going to try to bring somebody back like from round one to go against Reiley, but nobody was medically cleared. So I think that might have been the issue.
Gotcha, man. Appreciate you, man.
Awesome. Appreciate you
We'll
guys.
talk soon, Shockey. Thank you, my brother.
Appreciate you.
All right, there you go. The 3 lightweight winners. You know what? I actually think these guys are right, man. I think I think we talked about this. I don't know if it was yesterday or last week, but I think around 3 between the guys that we saw involved in this second round, obviously the winners, and then some. Trujillo can kind of wait, figure out who makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I would say most obvious one is Boisvert, McGregor. Let the Canadians fight it out, figure out who's the chief Canadian, and then the American can do what we do and take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because in the past we've always seen the guys come out of the show and they want a shot at the title right away. We're seeing a lot of love, respect, for the fellow competitors here, and in some ways, Josh and Dakota probably both being realists, which we haven't seen, in the past in road to title 1 and 2. So definitely some smarts and education going to this, and guys wanting to have longevity. Because you think back, like look at guys like Kalani. Second matchup gets the crazy wine for the title. Nate Bernard as well, getting Damon DeBell on his second match. So we've seen what happens when guys rush too fast to the top. And I mean, we're talking about all this. Like, we don't even know if there's a belt. Like right now, they're building on a division, but we don't know if there is going to be that championship. I think we all think that there is, and it's going to be cemented and there'll be a belt and everything else. But at this moment, correct me if I'm wrong, Ding, but is that solidified and cemented for sure?
The belt? No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, we can assume at some point, but I don't think it happens at Power Stop number 9. That's for sure. Yeah. You may have actually missed this, Corey, so forgive me because you were traveling. Davis Quinones was actually inadvertently announced. Well, let me not say inadvertently. It was announced through a story that Power Stop reposted of a UFC 308 and Power Stop number 9 sort of collaborative. There's a poster for 9. There was a poster for 308. It says Abu Dhabi and all this stuff. So we released it also. We posted that this is the case. It's an official thing again. So Fab, you saw it on Power Stop, so he's saying this. But I just want to be clear. This is officially announced. It's on our page. It's also something that we verified. So congratulations to Isaiah. Welcome back to the champion, John Davis. We're very excited to see both of you guys up there for that.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of breaking news. I apologize. Obviously, we want to give the guys on the show their shine. But to talk about not only the stuff that went on the show, but also to talk about now this new middleweight matchup also has some interest, I'm sure, in the super heavyweight main event at Power Stop number 9. The newly, cemented or anointed super heavyweight Dwayne the Iron Giant Crespo. What's up, my man?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for joining, brother. We, obviously you've been waiting in the wings for a while, so we appreciate that. We've been talking about a lot of different things. Obviously, the one that's the most relevant to you is the Dumpling versus the Crazy Hawaiian. We haven't had you on the show to talk about your thoughts. So real quick, just give us kind of your reaction and what you think about that main event.
I get why they're having it. It's the fight that we wanted to see before Power Slap. So I understand. I just think it's a little rushed. But they can't risk Dumpling, losing a fight before it happens. So I understand. So I could be salty a little bit that the fight's happening, but honestly, I think it'd be a fun one for the fans to watch.
Yeah, man. I mean, for you specifically, you kind of alluded to it a little bit. We've talked about it before. You beat number 1, but you don't make it to number 1. Where's your head at? What are you thinking? I mean, I think you're sitting down now at number 6.
Yeah, number 6.
Is Hawaiian Hitman still ahead of you?
Yeah, yeah. He's ranked number 2, so that's a little. Again, like they have their image in their head. They want me to climb more because it's going up in the division, so they think that I have more to prove since they're heavier guys. And maybe I do, but yeah, if you beat someone, you should probably take their spot, especially if they lost 2 fights in a row. Then that person should probably drop down. But yeah, like I'm sits right now, and hopefully we just keep climbing.
Yeah, and I mean, for you, who do you think walks out? Power Slap 9, the super heavyweight champion.
I think Crazy Wine could do it in one because getting your first shot, taking your first shot in Power Slap is different. We see everybody get rocked, even the vets like Combs, Crazy Wine. His first shot against Micah, he got rocked. So I think he could take it away in one, but I believe that if that doesn't happen, Dumpling wins the fight. I think he's more cleaner than Crazy Wine, and he'll get it done.
Awesome, man. And then obviously we just talked about John Davis versus Isaiah is presumed to be the co-main event at this time. Obviously a championship fight. What's your initial to that? And who do you think walks out of that one?
Oh, congrats to Isaiah! Like, I know that we like talk all the time. Like, records should matter to get a title fight, and he's 2-2. But his last 2 fights were good fights, so it's cool that he's getting the opportunity, and I think he shocks the world. I think that John Davis being not competitive for a long time could have ring rust, and a guy who has the hot hand right now is Isaiah. So I think he gets it done.
Dude, Dwayne, can you hear me okay, my man?
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
Awesome, dude. Obviously you probably were a little disappointed when you seen the Dumpling and the Crazy Wine announced. I don't think we had you on the show to talk about it. What was your initial reaction, and how is it still sitting with you today?
Oh, so when they got announced, I'm like, okay, yeah, they did what we thought was gonna happen, and I was kind of upset for like 3 seconds, but I was like, all right, I can't be, keep my attitude towards it. Like, hey, I'll get my shot, I'll get a fight, and I just have to keep winning. But I remember being in the back room of Power Slap 8, and I won against the Crazy Wine's brother. I was just like, yeah, I finally get my title shot after 2 years, finally. And I saw Dumpling get the knockout. I was like, maybe not. So, so it happens, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, is there anyone that you want next?
Uh, if Zales finally comes to Power Slap, I think that'd be awesome. Have the two people that you want to see fight titles, me and Zales, and then just go from there. But if that doesn't happen, I just want to progress. So Kalani, anyone at the top of the rankings, would just have me keep progressing.
What do you make of Kalani? I mean, we had him on the show, the past couple of weeks. Says he hasn't heard anything from Power Slap. He kind of seems to be the forgotten guy, but he's still holding down a top 5 spot.
I think he's just an athlete, so you got to respect that. But I think he's so new at the sport that it's not really like the biggest threat in the world. But he has the higher spot, so that's just what I'm looking for right now, to keep progressing so I can get the title. But
Awesome,
yeah,
awesome, my man. All right, you gotta do me a favor, Dwayne. All right,
yep.
you got to close out the show with my man Ding here. I got to take off and catch a flight. All right.
Hey, take care, man.
All
Have a
right.
safe flight.
Much love, man. Okay, take care, buddy.
He's out, Corey.
Thanks, man.
Dwayne, what do you think of the show so far? I mean, obviously we're in round 2 now. There's no super heavies on the show, but a division that you know very well, one that you sat at the top of for quite some time, just below that championship, throne, I'll call it. What do you think of the heavyweights on the show and their prospect? And then you, of course, have a bit of a coaching background. So what do you think overall just of the talent?
So, as the talent, I'll say that the potential's high. I just don't think that they're being taught. So we're not seeing cleaner fights, or honestly like them hitting harder, or even just a higher IQ of like moments. Like when we saw a legal windup, that should never happen. So like little stuff like that, like it should not fly with like the right coaching. And then heavyweight potential, like I said, they're still so new. There's a gap. There's a huge gap that needs to be closed. And I think Parasite was smart of bringing in the mid-level guys that are ranked into the show that we saw today. So I think that could help progress the level of the newer guys. But I think there's a lot to learn right now, and they still have to like show me something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the big news that we see is Darius the Destroyer enters the house as an OG coming in, to have a fight actually that they're going to show next week, which I was surprised by. He's going to be facing off against Cody Hrasnik, who obviously, faced off against James Stonier in his first fight in round one. What are your thoughts on a guy going from kind of being the pioneer of this sport and a coach on season one, a season that you were on, to now, being a contender in some ways?
I think it's cool to see that he's not giving up, because I know he lost to 3 in a row in Power Slap, and it's a big change from the rule set that he's used to now, and you could see the change in in his wins, like 17 in a row, and now he lost 3 in a row. So I think it's cool that he took a step back, took a breath, and now it looks like he's fighting the lower level guys, and this is where we'll get to see, did he finally switch to our rule set? Is he gonna, shine again?
Yeah, what is it about the rule set that you think he was having trouble adjusting to?
What are you talking about, the warning? So, like in Slap Fight Championship, you could do a warning. I could club somebody and it won't be counted into the fight. And so I could technically do it on purpose. I could I have more rounds to get my shots in to dull opponents to make them, make my shots count more. As for here, you got 3. And so, like, you foul once, you probably lost. And so you're talking about no warning, and you have the ability to adapt. And his last fights, like the live ones we saw, he didn't adapt in his fights. He clubbed twice, got DQ'd. And that's something that, hey, I clubbed one time, cool, whatever I thought I was going to do, not doing that no more. Switch it up, move on. We haven't seen that yet, and maybe we get to see it in the season. And, just little things like that. Big difference from Slap Fight.
Yeah, and then we're now on episode number 8. It just wrapped, and we kind of see our first like real glimpse at what's going on in the house. You were obviously on season 1. You've seen the evolution of things. You lived it at some point in time. What do you think about the way that the show's evolved, how the athletes are being portrayed, and sort of this move to a very, I'll say, fight-centric model where it's really just about, showing the athletes, showing their fight, moving on to the next ones. I mean, obviously each person gets a small intro, their background, where they're from, they got family, things like that, and something that's remarkable about them. But other than that, we really haven't seen a lot. We've seen a lot of teasers, and now we finally see 2 different fights spur, right? We see Brandon Rose go at it with James Stonier, and we also that's middleweight. I know he fought a light heavyweight on the show, but that's a middleweight and a heavyweight who formerly fought at super heavyweight. And then you have Kiali Kanakoa versus Brandon Kerr, which we've seen tons of footage of. That starts to brew based on the preview for next episode. It looks like it continues in the next episode. So, I mean, what do you make of the way that all of this stuff is being portrayed, and the fact that we're over halfway done with the season and we're now just kind of seeing what's going on in the house?
I think it's just the setting that they did for this season, having half the people prove themselves before getting into the house. So you had people that are used to the same people for the first week, and then you're talking about week 2, a whole different bunch of guys come in and kind of like change their whole mindset. Like, oh, you're trying to take my spot in the house? I've been here longer than you, kind of like that a naive jailhouse kind of thing. And alcohol makes fights happen, so you talking about them drinking, and now, hey, you're gonna take my spot, I could beat you, and fighting the wrong people. Why are you fighting Kalani? Like, I can't pronounce his name, but the chief, like, why are you picking a fight with a guy with a background in fighting, man? That don't make sense. That don't make sense to me. I don't care how much alcohol, just calm down, do what you're supposed to do, and move on. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, I honestly don't know that it was alcohol or wasn't. And if you've ever watched, if we have an interview with Brandon Kerr on our page, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I honestly just think it's his personality. I think he's he believes in himself. He was a soccer player professionally at a pretty high level, to my understanding. I don't know anything about soccer, much less anything about Canadian sports, but I'm told from good sources, which are Canadians, that he was a very high level soccer player. And so, he has belief in himself. Obviously, he's been a high level athlete in some form. But you're dealing with MMA fighters and these guys who are actually trained in combat. I agree. I'd be a bit careful, but I will, in his defense, I'll say I think that's his personality. I just think he's got the utmost belief in himself. And you know what? The truth is, we're all the beneficiaries because we get to watch the entertainment.
Yeah, I guess it's a little entertaining. That's what's happening, but you're there for a reason. Why are you going to ruin it? Try to pick a fight and then against the wrong person. It just don't make sense. You're trying to make yourself feel tough or whatever. I just don't get it. And I know that like how you were asking about the settings from like season 1 to now season 3 is a little different. It's just because like we got Power Slap is getting a little more recognized in the right way. I remember in the beginning it was all bad. Like all the comments were bad, everything was bad. So the show showed more of the person, of the human instead of the event. Like it showed more like, oh, this guy does this job, they talk more, hey, he's doing this. And so you start to relate with the person more. And now people like the sport, so you see more fights and then more violence. They're like, all right, cool. Kind of back to like the Ultimate Fighter, like in the beginning, same thing. Storytelling versus we want to see more MMA, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was interesting. I enjoyed, I thought the whole Howler head ring on the bus was a little interesting. Brandon Rhodes, I think at one point in time was twerking, and Darren Godfrey was like slapping him on his ass. Listen, whatever floats people's boat. No judgment here, but I just thought it was interesting that was kind of the part of the footage that was, included. Was this like pass the Howlerhead around on the bus? I appreciate the shameless plug for Howlerhead being that Dana owns it, but the drinking is the lowest hanging fruit. We saw obviously a guy like Azael, who I don't want to say was made out to be the bad guy. I'm not accusing Power Slap Production of purposely, illustrating him in that way, but he did a lot of things in season 1, as you remember, that were questionable. Didn't make him look so good to the audience. Obviously, we found out after that he's, one of the greatest guys out there, very nice guy, humble guy, wants to help people, very friendly. So it couldn't really be more of an opposite sort of representation of who he is. So I just think the whole Howlerhead thing is
I'll attest to it too, because I'll say, like you're saying, the show did him dirty. He was worse than the show projected him in the house. He was awful to be around. And then I remember meeting him again after, and the nicest human being. He's like, I made a fool of myself. Like, that's not who I am. That's not how I want to be pictured. I'm like, all right, it's cool. But he's a super nice dude, super, super down to earth now. But I remember in the house, couldn't stand him. And then same thing, just looking at the show now, Brandon Rhodes, I met him out in Vegas. He's super nice guy, super chill, but looking at him make a fool of himself on the show, man, it's different. Like, so the alcohol, I get it. It can make you not what you are. And it's a shame that you're doing it in front of millions of people. So you have to figure out the image you want to bring out there. Is that something you can live with,
Yeah, I mean, it was you, me, and a couple other people were together with Brandon Rhodes at Circa for during Fight Week for Power Slap 8, and he's nothing like that. So it was clear to me when I saw it. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's definitely been drinking something. Then obviously he gets emotional. Excuse me. So I mean, I get it, but at the same time, you're a middleweight, pick a fight with a heavyweight. I appreciate the fighting spirit. But even Sashbilly is a guy that we've seen kind of get aggressive and show kind of his character. And he's talked about being this guy that's not going to take anything from anybody and just let people try to attack him or bully him. And he was very composed in this situation. It really seemed like, even though he's the bigger guy, clearly seems like he doesn't really want to have much of an issue with the guy. He's not looking for a whole lot of trouble. I'm not sure if he was exactly drunk also, but obviously the guys do a big toast in the middle. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people enjoying themselves. I think one person that I notably didn't see indulging was Dakota McGregor, was sitting by the refrigerator. While everybody's drinking, he was kind of present but not participating. Rod Alavi, as I would expect based on what he said in the past, was indulging quite a bit, having fun. But he didn't get into any problems for whatever reason. The Chief and Brandon Kerr hit it off really, really on the wrong foot. It got a bit, I don't know what the truth is as far as that situation goes. Obviously, we'll hear from the Chief, as we see him compete. But ultimately, I do think that part of it is a personality thing. A lot of people have things to say about Brandon Kerr.
Just clashing at the end of the day.
Yeah, some people are just
Grown
that
men
way.
in the same house.
They're very
Grown men in the same
oppositional.
house.
Exactly. And they talked about the sickness and you would know this also, obviously the military background, right? You put a bunch of people in the same area, there's going to be tension inevitably, and there's definitely going to be sickness. Not everybody's going to get along. So very interesting to see. One thing that I thought was interesting was we see Pono front and center in the Brandon Rose James Stonier thing. The Chief is his brother, like his legitimate blood brother, and we don't see Pono, at least in the clips that we were shown. We don't see Pono anywhere near Brandon Kerr and the Chief. And to be honest with you, the people that were involved, what's your take on that? I personally will not get involved in two grown men doing their thing. I think fighting's the most human thing we can do. I don't want any trouble. Like if we're in a casino and you're gonna start brawling, I don't want to see you get arrested. And I know how serious security is there, and there's cameras and everything. I'm gonna do my best to defuse. But you're in a house on a TV show where you're being filmed as part of the entertainment. If security or the production team want to stop it, they will. I'm staying out of it. If you guys got a problem, you got to solve. I'm minding my business. It seemed like everybody wanted to get involved though. Even Devin Helm versus Bryce Jones when they were doing the whole, come get it, tough guy, come get it, big boy, and then the pants come off. Everybody standing in the middle. Then in both of these situations, people are holding people back. Yep. Pono's getting pretty heated and trying to really become this. A governing or authoritative figure for the house to say, hey, stop talking, just shut up, whatever. And it's not really going his way, but then there's other people getting involved, grabbing people. What would what's your prerogative on that? Would you get involved in something, or you just kind of let guys be guys?
I mean, there's a bunch of fights when I was in season 1, and I was the one breaking up, but I was also the biggest guy there, so it made sense for me. I will say the reason why Pono is not defending his brother is because his brother's fine. You're talking about a person with no combat experience picking a fight with a dude with a lot of pro fights and does well. And so, he's fine. Like, I don't have to worry about him. He's going to be okay no matter what. But, yeah, I stopped a bunch of fights on there, and some get bad, and hey, where's the security guard? Hey, I'm not doing this one. And you might have to jump in there. And I guess, when people see a crowd around them and you get more hype, you start yelling at someone, and now 16 people circle around you, and then there's a camera right in front of you with lights, so you start talking more. It's childish, but I get it, the TV reality aspect of it. But you're there for a reason, man. There's easy ways to get your fight canceled, and getting hit in the head outside of your fight is one way of getting it canceled. So I don't get it.
Yeah, and then shifting gears, obviously, like I said, we see Darius is going to fight Cody Harasnik on the next episode. Obviously, there's no super heavyweights on the season. What do you think? Why do you think that is? Why do you think season 2 seemed like it was really obviously Danny Van Heerden was a product of season 2. He's a guy that has had that stardom, if you will, in some way. A South African guy that's really had the limelight on him. Great success, obviously goes up to Crazy Hawaiian, is not able to get it done, but still very, I guess popular is the word I'll use.
Yep.
Why do you think super heavyweights were left out of season 3?
I just think because they had the showcase in the season 2, and then you're talking about some people moved to super like myself, and then getting dumplings. So it's not like they needed a roster change. It happened on its own. But I'll say the reason why heavyweight is showcased is because they're in a standstill. You're talking about for the past year and a half. It's the bell at champion, me at number 1 or 2, Dorian at 2 or 3, and so they haven't changed at all. So bring in some new talent and see if they could change the rankings. I think just super happened on its own with me moving over there, Dumpling coming in. But the rankings changed 5 steps for people. So I think that's the reason why it wasn't a show. It just happened naturally.
And then on a similar kind of subject matter, I don't know if you've seen, but Danny Van Heerden and Lorenzo Florian Slapdog have been kind of going back and forth. We had Lorenzo on yesterday. We had Danny on last week. It seems like those guys are okay with fighting one another. You also have McKinney in there, who's this jaded's not the right word because I don't want to speak for his emotion, but he's been passed over twice now, right? He was passed over for the championship fight by a guy who he beat, via disqualification. Now he's being passed over again by a guy who debuted and beat number 9 in the rankings. So he's looking for something to do, if you will, in the meantime, without considering Zales, because we don't know if he'll ever come to Power Slap. What do you think makes sense next for you when you have obviously Slapdog's behind you, but Danny's in front of you, McKinney's in front of you, Kalani's in front of you? What do you think makes the most sense for you next?
As we see, the rankings don't matter when it comes to progressing. They want to see a fire show, like you get a knockout. So it doesn't really matter. I could fight Slapdog, anything could boost me up, and their image. But I've been past a couple of title shots too. Talk about one. I have 5 contender fights. I won 4 of them. So Manu shouldn't be too bad. He should count it as a blessing instead of getting thrown in the fire for a championship fight and lose. Get more experience and then beat the champion because you got more experience. So he should be a little more happy that it's happening that way because we saw Danny go into the fire, and I would say that Danny and Manu were even. I would have had him dead even in skill level, and you talk about him getting pretty much demolished in a championship fight. So it would have happened the same way. So I think he should be blessed that, hey, I could have another fight to get my more experience up and go from there. But as for me, anyone they want to throw would be fine. I think it progresses me. I just need to start showcasing that the power has translated to the higher division. I know that's what they asked from me. To hey, you won. It was great. A little more, okay, cool. I could do that. So whatever happens, Kalani, Manu, Danny, I think they will all love to fight me. Being the veteran, you could prove yourself faster that way. But I would love to have an opportunity, just in general,
Yeah, and then final question before I let you go, man. Thank you again for your time and for your patience. From the outside looking in now, being that you're a super heavyweight, do you think there's anybody in the heavyweight division that can beat Damian DeBell?
Currently, no.
Including the talent from season 3 that we've seen so far.
No. I think I was the only person that could beat DeBell. Just haven't got the opportunity yet for the title fight. We fought earlier on, but as you see, new people fighting vets, they lose, and I was new fighting a vet, and now I am the vet, the one with the more experience, the most wins in Power Slap. I think that I could beat him, but it's just not in the cards. They put me to super. I think currently, I think he stays champion. I think Dorian might have a good shot just because if he could get his offense skills better, I think he's in a good position. But that's just on him training. Is he training his offense? But as for the new talent, I think there's a huge gap that needs to be filled. And eventually, yeah, sure. Just right now, no.
Awesome, brother. Well, thank you so much for joining me, man. Hope to get some clarity for you in your division soon.
Absolutely.
And we'll definitely talk to you soon, my brother.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Always, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Dwayne. Have a good night, man.
You too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to wrap here. I'm going to go through kind of the chat, catch up on some things that I saw that I didn't comment on but would like to. This was probably the first one I saw. Brandon Bordeaux, fight for second place. The real champion is still undefeated. Listen, these guys will fight. You're right there. You're right there. I think that you'll have your opportunity very soon. The Chief, congrats, Isaiah, but keep that belt warm for the Chief. I agree with Dwayne. I'm assuming you're talking about the whole thing with Brandon Kerr and the pro fighter stuff. I won't be picking a fight with a pro fighter anytime soon. I can promise you that. Congrats, Isaiah. Keep that belt warm for the Chief. As always, I want to see you compete, though. I want to see you compete on the show. I think at that point, assuming you're able to get the victory on the show, you probably will have a little. You'll probably get a little more respect from your peers. And I can't wait to talk to you should you be victorious. Isaiah going to get that belt. Awesome. Isaiah gets the belt, then goes against Bordeaux. All right, seems like people are sleeping on John Davis, which, if I'm being honest, is as per usual. Unfortunately for John, I think John knows that. I'm not, obviously, I'm not saying anything about his skill set. I'm just saying what he always gets slept on, and so far he's proven everybody wrong. So, I think the champion deserves some respect. Winner in January, Saudi, Brandon Bordeaux. Yeah, you got your passport, I'm assuming, my man. Who counts their measure as one? Listen, Luke, we love you, man. It is all good, brother. It is all good. Darius microflinch with some. Yeah, I don't know if I call him microflinching as much as mistiming the roll. He seems to have had trouble timing that appropriately, and in his last fight, I don't think he had that problem. Brandon Chris says he'll never be on the show again. He got kicked off, talks about his kids, his mom and shit. Father. Yeah. Listen, if any of that's true, man, it's reprehensible. Nobody wants to hear or see any of that crap. Pro soccer, gamer life compared to high level fight is different. Absolutely, you're correct. Agree with that. Hyping himself up in the mirror like a winner. Yeah, like I said, I think personality wise, I think Brendan Kerr believes fully in himself. And I personally don't think there's anything wrong with believing fully in yourself. Obviously, that rubs some people the wrong way. The way that he did it. Looks like Brendan and the Chief are going at it here, as usual. Producer hates Brandon. Yeah, I don't want to get on the Brandon Kerr fuck Brandon Kerr parade. He could become the Colby Covington. Sure. I thought Brandon going crazy was awesome. All right, so Brandon's got a friend. That's good. We didn't go to Power Stuff to act like Jesus and be perfect. All right, yeah, that's reasonable. 2-4, bro. He sucks. Again, I'm assuming you're talking about the Chief. I'm can't agree with that per se. I think, like I said, I want to see him compete in Power Step, and we'll see what to say. TJ Thomas and Dwayne Crest supposed to be season 4 coaches. That's an interesting one because these guys both have coached, behind the scenes. They've taken it upon themselves to take a step to contribute to the evolution of the sport. So I have no qualms about it, and they've both been credited by a few successful athletes in assisting them to get there. Turbo should move up to heavyweight. He was at heavyweight. I don't know, man. I've been around Turpin in person. He's not a massive guy. Some of these heavyweights are big, bro. Some of these heavyweights are big. The bell's very tall, very long. Pause. I don't know. No, I'm not saying he can't. I mean, Turpin's strong. Obviously, he's powerful. But against proper heavyweights, I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think if he can make 205, I think that was the best weight class for him. He's got to get dialed in and figure out how to make sure he can make that weight every time. Strokes to make weight life. Yeah, that's what I mean. So if he can, I know he's with a trainer now, formal program, excuse me. So if he can continue to keep that locked in, then I think he has a good future at light heavy. Unfortunately, the loss with Vern doesn't help, but he missed weight in that fight too. So I would like to see if he does this the right way, what he can do. Because we, don't count him out. We've seen the guy do things that people thought he couldn't do before. And people were talking about him, and he's not even here. nor was he really the subject matter today. James Siegman incoming. I believe you. Nate wins his next one. I can see him being a coach across from the belt. Nate Bernard. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think of the coaches not fighting each other type of thing? I personally would like to see a capstone where the coaches fight each other, but I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world seeing these guys go, again, coaching styles. And to be honest with you, Turpin was incredibly, I'll say, effective with his strategy, especially with the kneeling. I think he saved quite a few people from getting TKO'd with the kneeling recommendation. So, hats off to him for coming up with something. And people may not like it. But it is what it is. If Davis defends the belt, then next season should be Davis and Rodriguez. Well, I think there's a guy who's right here that he would disagree with that comment. But Azael's still holding down the number 1 spot, so we do need some clarity there. I think if the timing makes sense, meaning after we've got, obviously we know now we have John Davis and Isaiah. If let's just say we have a card between Abu Dhabi in October and Saudi in January, Isaiah versus Brendan could make sense. Isaiah versus Brendan could absolutely make sense. What else you guys got? Thank you guys for sticking it out. Obviously, we're kind of lapping people at this point because you got people who are getting their second wins on the show. Some unusual ones, but I thought McGregor, Boisvert had a great performance. Obviously, Shockey, it's a W, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Don't try, brother. Should have gotten the shot, in my opinion, but you the forever number one contender B. Okay. Only 6 weeks turnaround time, bro. But you're talking about between October and January? Or do you know something that you're hinting at? I don't want to put you on the spot. But like I said, thank you guys so much for joining. We appreciate you guys always. We got a ton of different stuff going on our page. If you missed Smack Talk yesterday, we do this cool thing now where we take all the segments that we had on the show, each person that appeared, and we split it into pieces and we re-upload them, in smaller bites so that you can just look at what you're more interested in instead of having to go through the whole show and figure out where the part that you want to see is. So, for example, Chin Reaper was on yesterday. We have a segment for just Chin Reaper. It's just his part of the episode. We also have a segment for Sean Kilmartin, who had his segment on the episode. But another thing that we've never done before that we decided to do because it was just perfect. Both guys were backstage at the same time, and they just happened to be coming on back-to-back from each other. We put them together, and we just kind of took ourselves out of it, didn't say anything, and they just went at it. So we posted that as well. That was a couple minutes of them just going back and forth. These are guys, and you don't see this very often in Slap, but these are guys right now who really, really don't like each other. And so that hate is real, and everything they said yesterday to each other is not for show. They absolutely do not like each other. So, I thought it was relatively entertaining. And just based on the comments, I think other people think it was entertaining. So just to recap real quick, obviously we had Josh Boisvert on the show today. We had Dakota McGregor on the show today. We also had William Shockey, and we were joined by the Iron Giant, Dwayne Crespo, the number 6 ranked super heavyweight. We've also just announced. I'm going to say announced. I'm not taking credit for the announcement, but we posted that John the Machine Davis will be defending his middleweight championship at Power Slap number 9 against Isaiah Quinones. That was released earlier via Power Slap. I'm going to call it inadvertent, but obviously they reposted the story intentionally. But there's a fight poster that shows the main event. It shows now the second championship fight, which we can assume is the co-main event. So October 24th, John the Machine Davis will be returning to fight the Puerto Rican pretty boy, Mr. Nicky Jam, as people seem to like to call him. Isaiah Quinones, and the world is exactly where it needs to be because the Chief and Brandon Bordeaux are still going at it. So that could be something. Again, once the Chief fights on the show, I think that a lot more things will start to come into perspective. Obviously, has that win over, not that win, but that knockout over Joe Landman gets the asterisk because of disqualification. So I think some of that leads to this lack of respect from people in the division. But once we are able to see something, happen in the show that we know he's on, I think that there's that respect will be restored should he be able to get that W. Finally, before I sign off, we saw Alan Klingbeil. Some people, you guys are so, pay attention so much. You've got Amir Nuruddin is also somebody that we spotted. I'm going to pretend I didn't know that he was on the show, even though I did because he came on this program. Smack Talk, and he announced it, but we got rid of it for him because we didn't want to spoil anything that he wasn't supposed to say. So at that time, we took that part of the segment down, but Amir did come on the show and let us know that he was on the show, and now we can see that he's on the show. So that's exciting. I'm not exactly sure who he's going to fight. We also see Darius the Destroyer return, come back as a contender, season 1 coach, obviously, and then finally, I also mentioned we have Alan Klingbeil and then Waylon Frost, a guy that we haven't seen in quite some time. So pretty exciting overall. I think that I didn't know that this would happen, but the second half of the season seems to be heating up. It's getting a lot more fun. We're seeing some of the house stuff as people have been requesting. Episodes are still the same amount of time, but I think that they're spending enough time showing us the extracurricular stuff. make sure you guys keep in touch with what we got going on. All the interviews we're dropping on our YouTube. We've been pushing out a lot of content. We appreciate you guys watching, engaging, commenting, and you guys are the drivers of our content. So let us know what you want to see, who you want to hear from, who do you want us to interview, who do you want us to bring on the show. If you have questions for certain people, whatever it is, that's what we're here for. We do this to make sure that the fan base is engaged, that you guys have the information you want. We appreciate the people who DM us, ask us questions, and we're able to give you guys some feedback on things that we know, inside information per se that is not inappropriate to share. We absolutely will. You guys are the best fan base in the world, so thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next Tuesday, Smack Talk, at 7 p.m. on the East Coast, 4 p.m. on the West Coast. And then we'll be here again, 9:40 p.m. on the East Coast, 6:40 p.m. on the West Coast for the Final Slap, episode number 9, immediately following Road to the Title, season 3, episode number 9. We really appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week. Cheers.